What's up, fellow Facebook freaks and geeks? This is Jerry, coming at you from the fortress, sitting in the captain's chair on a Tuesday evening. Last week, a friend of mine asked me a pretty good question, and they wanted to know my thoughts on reboots and reimaginings of films, of old projects, of old films that have already occurred. And it got me thinking. As some of you may know, if you were up on Facebook last night, I sent out a link, or shared a link with you, that there's a studio wants to reimagine the Terminator films in sort of the way that J.J. Abrams did Star Trek. So it got me thinking on how many projects are there out there that are either being tabbed for reimagining or actually in production, scripts, or whether there's just thoughts of doing it. So I did some research, and I compiled a list of quite a few, several movies. Some you may have heard of. Most of these projects I don't think you have, that are either being tabbed for reimagining or rebooted, or scripts are being written already, or they're already in production. I think there's some movies on this list that will surprise you. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to read some of this. I'm going to read the movies on the list, and then I'll expound upon the films after I read them. And in no particular order. Westworld, which starred Yul Brynner. I want to say it was around the mid-'70s. Science fiction flick. Now, most of these movies are science fiction. There's a couple that aren't. But like I said, no particular order. Westworld, Pet Sematary, Red Dawn. Scripts are already written for that, and that's actually in production. If those of you that are familiar with the original Red Dawn, which featured or starred Patrick Swayze. Police Academy, Short Circuit, The Never-Ending Story, Highlander. Scripts are being written, and production is pending. I already mentioned Terminator. Gremlins. Jurassic Park. Yes, Jurassic Park. Now, I didn't share a link. I'll finish reading these real quick, but apparently the studio is going to re-release Jurassic Park in Blu-ray and in 3D, and so this may be something that they're doing along with the release of the older movies onto Blu-ray and in 3D. Mortal Kombat, The Bodyguard, early 80s movie, Tomb Raider, Daredevil, Fantastic Four, Flash Gordon. I'm a big fan of the original, but it's being tabbed for redo. Footloose, yes, with Kevin Bacon. It's already in production, folks. Death Wish, Alien. You heard me right, Alien. Spawn, American Pie. Yes, American Pie. Your Resident Evil fans, guess what? There's already a studio coming in to swoop it up and want to reboot it. The Thing, already in production. Teen Wolf, MTV has a TV series loosely, and I say loosely based off of the original. Apparently there's a movie being tabbed as well. How many of you are fans of the Porky's films? Reboot. The Howling. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yes, Buffy. Barbarella. Logan's Run. Ghostbusters, which is technically a sequel to the previous two. The original cast is coming back, but then it will be a passing of the baton over to a younger group, so you can kind of call it a reboot, but it's more of a sequel. Back to the Future. I'm not making this up, folks. Dune. Any of you fans of the Bourne trilogy? Reboot. The Three Musketeers, in production already. Now, some of these projects or some of these older films are more obscure than others. So before I go bashing on everything reboot and reimagining, and for the most part I'm against it, there are a few of these that I'm interested in seeing a newer movie of. If for only anything else, the original was either so bad as far as cinematically to look at, or the age of it. For example, I'll give you a few that I'm kind of intrigued and I wouldn't mind seeing a reboot of. Flash Gordon, Barbarella, Logan's Run, Mortal Kombat, Spawn. The first Spawn's okay. It got horrible reviews. Didn't do very well at the box office. Michael Jai White, I thought, played a pretty good Spawn, but overall it was a bad movie. I wouldn't mind seeing it redone. That's about it. The rest of these movies, I really could care less to see a reboot or having anything reimagined of it. Now, with that being said, I've always said, just because you can do a thing, just because Hollywood can do a thing, doesn't necessarily mean you should. Some things should just be, well, just leave well enough alone. Unfortunately, that's not how Hollywood is doing things nowadays. Let's just take something old, regardless of how great it was, and let's just reboot it. I'll give you an example. True Grit. Great movie, starring John Wayne. I went out and bought it on DVD. Recently rewatched it. I refused to watch the new movie at all. As great as it was at the box office, as great of an actor as Jeff Bridges was, I'm sure, in it, I don't care to see it. Where do we draw the line? Taking an older project that's more obscure is one thing. Taking a classic movie is another thing. A couple of these movies were pretty good 80s films. If you're going to redo Porky's and Police Academy, where do we stop with there? We're going to redo Fast Times at Ridgemont High and Ferris Bueller's Day Off? And for those of you that grew up when I did, those are classic flicks that I can't imagine anything ever being redone in them. So with that being said, go to my Facebook page, give me your thoughts or ideas on these movies that I just posted, and let me know what you think. I have a friend of mine, Kenny. Hello, Kenny. Now, don't, you Star Wars fans, don't kill Kenny too bad. He actually would be for them going back and redoing the original movies all over again with a younger cast. No. You don't take something classic, especially like a Star Wars, and redo it. Now, Alien, the first two Aliens films were great movies. Well, it's being time for a reboot. Once again, where do you draw the line? Enough said there. You guys go to my Facebook page. Give me your thoughts and your ideas. If you've heard of something that I haven't, let me know. Post it. Let me know your thoughts. My friend Dale Sparrow gave me a comment today on Facebook, and actually, I'm sorry to say, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Dale, for my research, yeah, there's a studio out there that wants to redo it. So, if that's one of the movies that, actually my friend Dale said he wouldn't care necessarily to see that redone, and that would be a movie that I would add to the list of movies I wouldn't mind seeing redone. It was kind of funny when he asked me that, because I immediately went online, did some research, and sure enough, it's not tabbed, it's not in production, but there's a studio out there or a director that wants to redo this film. So, once again, go to my page. You guys give me your thoughts and your ideas. Let me know what you think about reboots and reimaginings, whether you're for them or whether you're or against them. And real quick, before I tie up this blog, all you Twilight fans, guess what? When this next movie is done, finished, and once it leaves the theater, there's already a studio that wants to swoop in and reboot your Twilight. Now, my friend Jenny, hello Jenny, I'll tag you in this. Big fan, and my wife too, of the Twilight films. I wouldn't be so quick to say yay, because if you like what you've seen now, who's to say you're going to like what's to come if they reboot it? Something to think about. You guys chew on all that. Go to my Facebook page. Give me your thoughts, your comments. We'll check you out later. Peace out.